From Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 5. Now, from Nebraska's trusted news source, this is Channel 8 Eyewitness News at 5.
Coming up on the news, an iconic Lincoln bar is reopening with new local ownership.
Plus, downtown businesses are preparing for an economic boom this weekend with Garth coming to town.
But first, an hours-long standoff ends with a Nebraska state trooper shot and the suspect dead. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us.
We've learned a lot of new information about that active shooter warning from overnight near Hastings. Channel 8's Jael Pembroke is just back from there and joins us in the studio with this developing news tonight. Jael?
We now know the name of the suspect shot and killed. He was 35-year-old Brooks Hacker. Court records show he had a lengthy criminal past. He was a new resident in Juanita. It was around midnight when the 911 call came in. A verbal fight turned physical, and police say there was a woman inside who couldn't get out. They say Hacker fired dozens of rounds. Even when SWAT got there with armored vehicles, the bullets were still flying. The woman inside was able to escape. That's when the trooper was shot. For more hours, negotiators tried to talk the man into surrendering. Those talks fell apart, and when the man came out again with a gun, the SWAT team fired back and shot Hacker. He died a short time later.
Well, thankfully they don't happen every day, and these situations are very serious when they do happen. Especially in this case, there was a large danger to the community around this residence, and those get dealt with in an appropriate manner. In this case, it was nice to have the armored vehicles that we were able to bring from the State Patrol and Hastings to provide some type of armored cover in the area for the residents and also for our troopers and deputies that were responding.
The trooper was released from the hospital earlier today and should make a full recovery. Now, this incident prompted an active shooter alert for the area, and emergency warnings went on several platforms, including the National Weather Service. Now, troopers say most neighbors heeded the warning and either were sheltered in place or were evacuated by law enforcement.
Jael Pembroke, thank you very much for those details tonight. Also, tonight at 6 o'clock, we're going to hear from neighbors in the area who saw the whole thing go down. So stay with us for that new information. Again, that'll be on our news at 6 o'clock.
All right, let's talk about your weather now with Chief Meteorologist John Disauer. It's our first forecast. And John, one more hot day here before it cools off a little bit?
That's right. Not just the heat, but the humidity as well. It's going to stay humid through the day tomorrow. Dew points back into the 70s. But there is some relief in sight. It's just not here yet. Temperatures today back up into the low 90s. We've made it up to 92 degrees today in Lincoln. 90 is the current temperature. A bit cooler as you head further to the west. There's a cold front that's been moving through the area. South of the front, that's where temperatures are in the 90s. Just to the north of that front, temperatures are in the middle to upper 80s right now. You can see there is some relief in the humidity department today as dew points have dropped back in the middle to upper 60s compared to yesterday's lower to mid 70s. So the heat index today not nearly as high as yesterday in the last couple of days. Right now it feels like it's 92 degrees in Lincoln, so it feels 2 degrees warmer than the actual air temperature. It feels like 95 right now in Beatrice. There is the cold front that has moved through the area. No rain developing along it. We're not expecting that this evening, but we've got a couple more fronts that are coming our way over the next couple of days, and that, especially for tomorrow, that could bring us a chance for some thunderstorms tomorrow night. But for this evening, we'll stay dry. Temperatures will be back dropping slowly through the 90s and into the 80s as we head towards 10 o'clock later on tonight. We'll take a closer look at that coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, talk to you later, John. Thank you. Now to the latest coronavirus news. There's a growing concern for children as they head back into the classroom.
And hospitals are feeling the strain of the pandemic again as beds fill up with COVID patients. ABC's Rena Roy has more.
As the Delta variant tears through the country, experts say it's more important than ever to protect unvaccinated children. Dr. Fauci on MSNBC joining the teachers union calling for a vaccine mandate for educators.
We've had 615,000 plus deaths, and we are in a major surge now as we're going into the fall, into the school season. This is very serious business.
Kentucky's governor implementing a statewide school mask mandate, but the attorney general is planning on challenging it. The Dallas school superintendent defying the governor's mask mandate ban, officially requiring them on Tuesday.
There are consequences for whatever actions you take, and I'd rather take that consequence than have the health of students and staff and families on my mind.
And in Florida, the governor threatening to withhold money from schools that require masks. The White House now looking into paying those teachers and administrators directly. This as some areas in the South report a lack of hospital beds. Hospitalizations in Alabama up 1,000% since last month.
You're just seeing this firestorm across the South that's basically picking off anyone who's unvaccinated.
In North Texas, the region is down to only 2 pediatric ICU beds.
These are not just for COVID. Car wrecks and anything else. If your child needs ICU and a ventilator in a 19-county area, we have 2.
Frontline workers overwhelmed.
This is a face of sadness and loneliness and helplessness, and our team is scared. There's no end in sight.
The CDC advisory panel plans on meeting Friday to discuss the possibility of booster shots for the immunocompromised. But the CDC also says at least 1 million people who got the Moderna or Pfizer vaccine have already gone to get a 3rd shot, even though the FDA has not yet approved them. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And whether you need a booster shot or not, a lot of people are wondering what to do if they've lost their vaccination card.
With vaccine requirements becoming more and more common, it's important, of course, to keep it handy. If you don't have a copy of your vaccination card, or if you happen to lose it, the CDC says you can get in touch with your vaccine provider and access your vaccination records. You can also contact your state health department's immunization information system.
We need to do everything possible to protect those that are not vaccinated. And those that are not vaccinated get protected 2 ways: by those that are eligible for vaccination getting vaccinated, and by wearing a mask.
Now, some pharmacies like CVS can reprint your card, while Walmart and others say they're going digital. The best option to avoid the hassle: simply take a picture of your vaccine card front and back. Businesses in downtown Lincoln are expecting increased business this weekend for the Garth Brooks concert.
A lot of stores and restaurants have seen slow days since the start of the pandemic, but the concert is bringing brighter days. Just like during Husker season, a concert at Memorial Stadium will bring traffic to downtown Lincoln, and plenty of customers will visit those local stores. Businesses say fans are traveling from all over for Garth and last night's Willie Nelson concert.
Yeah, you know, we've talked about it as a business and really tried to figure out, you know, will people come down, try to get parking early, and then come eat and drink. You know, if I was a fan coming to the concert, that's what I would do: come early, get a parking place, then tour around the Haymarket, eat and drink, have fun.
Businesses are expecting the amount of foot traffic to be similar to that of a Husker football game. They were missing this type of business last football season and are excited to welcome Garth fans this weekend. And speaking of being back, Barry's is back, and this time under a new owner.
The Haymarket restaurant and bar has sat empty for over the last year, but soon could be covered in Husker red once again. Channel 8's Alexis Koneski has a story many of you have been waiting for.
One of the first places you see as you drive into downtown Lincoln is making a comeback. Barry's, the restaurant and bar famous for Husker game days, was recently purchased by a Lincoln investor and entrepreneur who hopes to bring the entertainment space back to life.
It's one of those iconic places in Lincoln. Everybody knows Barry's. You say Barry's, they know it. It's a sea of red on game day. It's the first place that you see when you come in as a fan and alumni. We just wanted to be stewards of our community and really own that corner and help make sure that for the years to come, as Lincoln continues to develop and grow, that it's got a responsible owner and a really dedicated owner that can see it through those changes.
Barry's closed its doors back in March of 2020 after many businesses were shut down due to COVID restrictions. But the bar never reopened. There is no date set on when the Husker hotspot will be back in business, but they hope to have the doors open around football season. Suleiman says the rooftop will be coming back, but other parts might look a little different than you remember.
I think that 10 Below might be the only piece that ends up changing. I never really understood 10 Below, to be honest with you. And so whenever we bring something here to Lincoln from out east, I think everybody's going to know.
Suleiman says Barry's will be called Barry's as long as he's still alive. For some, Husker game days will one day feel whole again, seeing the sea of red overlook 9th Street. For Nebraska's trusted news source, I'm Alexis Koneski.
And whenever an opening day is announced for Barry's, we'll of course be sure to keep you updated on that.
You might have noticed a test today just before 1:30 this afternoon as Fema tested the emergency alert system. The test went on all radios and televisions and some mobile devices. It's to make sure the systems are effective ways to warn the public about emergencies. The Lincoln Police Department wants residents to be aware of mail theft.
It's a trend LPD has noticed over the past few months, and Channel 8's Joseph Nasser has more on what you can do to keep your mail safe.
Today, the Lincoln Police Department reported 2 separate instances of checks being stolen from mailboxes and subsequent attempts to cash them without authorization. Late Tuesday afternoon, a 29-year-old woman was found in the drive-thru of Liberty First Credit Union trying to cash one of several checks that she's accused of stealing from a residential mailbox. Also on Tuesday afternoon, Lincoln police say that 39-year-old Jackson Steinman was caught at the Hy-Vee on 84th Street trying to pass a $6,700 check from a home building company in Walton using a stolen driver's license. LPD acknowledges they haven't seen a ton of cases like this, but says these instances are a good opportunity to encourage the public to be vigilant when putting checks in the mail.
Oftentimes when the flag is raised on the mailbox to alert the mail carrier, it also alerts thieves.
And it's not just Lincoln residents who may be susceptible to having checks stolen from their mailboxes. LPD advises that businesses and churches receiving payments or donations by mail to consider how that mail is being delivered to their business, or even to consider an after-hours delivery. The bottom line, when sending or receiving money by mail, it's always best to err on the side of caution.
When choosing to deliver checks or pay bills by mail, consider leaving mail in a secured USPS mailbox rather than to be picked up at your residence. Business owners should also consider a secure deposit box for bill pay and mail delivery.
Reporting in Lincoln, Joseph Nasser with Nebraska's trusted news source.
Well, a bittersweet announcement today as the host of Jeopardy has been named.
And there are actually 2 hosts. We'll explain how the game show is breaking down the roles and what it means for the future of the game show after the break.
Greens Furnace and Plumbing has been a familiar Lincoln institution offering 24/7
been 8 months since Alex Trebek died, and Sony has now chosen 2 new faces to replace him as the host of Jeopardy.
After looking through all of the rotating hosts, Sony decided on Mike Richards and Mayim Bialik. Mike is the show's producer, but despite internet rumors, he did not pick himself for the job. He will begin hosting Jeopardy when the new season premieres September 13th.
Mayim is a neuroscientist and actress known for her roles in Big Bang Theory and Blossom. She will host the primetime spin-off series Jeopardy National College Championship. The show is set to air right here on ABC next year.
The state of New York is getting its first female governor in the state's history, and she's ready.
That's right, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul will replace Governor Andrew Cuomo in 13 days. Cuomo resigned Tuesday after an investigation found he sexually harassed 11 women. Hochul says she was never close to Cuomo and was aware of the allegations made in the New York Attorney General's report.
I spoke with Governor Cuomo yesterday, and he pledged his full support for a smooth transition. And I thanked him for his service to our state. Regarding his decision to step down, I believe it is appropriate and in the best interest of the state of New York. And while it was not expected, it is a day for which I am prepared.
Hochul said there will be turnover and has pledged to oust anyone investigators have found did anything unethical.
Now, your Storm Alert Team forecast with Chief Meteorologist John Dessauer.
Another mainly sunny sky outside, although once again we have some of that smoke up in the sky that's obscuring the blue skies, so we're seeing some filtered sunshine as well. Taking a live look from Honda of Lincoln, looking off to the south and west, you can see things are pretty quiet across the area. Now, we've got fires still going on back out to the west. The latest count now showing 105 large fires, just nearing 2.5 million acres being burned. One of the larger fires now up into portions of Montana, just in the last 24 hours, has increased in size by 87,000 acres. That's the Richard Spring fire that's in the western part of Montana, and that's sending a lot of smoke off to the east in our direction. But a couple of cold fronts, one that passed through earlier today, another one that's coming our way for tomorrow night, will bring some relief both from the smoke as well as from the humidity we've had recently. You'll see that on Stormcast this evening. The smoke getting pushed further down to the south, so we may see some breaks from that this evening. Another second push of smoke coming our way for tomorrow morning, and that's ahead of that second cold front I was talking about. And then perhaps later Thursday night into Friday morning, we may see more in the way of blue skies coming our way for Friday afternoon, as a lot of that keeps getting pushed off to the south thanks to the cold front coming through the area. You can see that on Stormcast, and the effects of that by noon on Friday. We should see less of that up into the sky. Temperature-wise, 90 degrees in Lincoln. We hit 92 this afternoon, 91 in Beatrice. It's 84 in Beatrice, 87 in Grand Island, and 86 degrees right now in Hastings. The humidity has dropped somewhat today. It's still humid outside, just not as bad as it's been recently. You can see dew points compared to 24 hours ago have dropped anywhere from 5 to as much as 11 degrees, meaning right now we're seeing dew points in the lower to mid 60s thanks to that first cold front that's moving through the area. Dew points are still in the mid 70s from Falls City to Nebraska City, so that's where the drier air hasn't reached just yet. Heat indices not as bad today, a couple degrees warmer than the actual air temperature, but as you head back further to the west, not a whole lot of heat index to be dealing with out towards Grand Island. For the rest of this evening, we'll see clear skies around the area. Temperatures dropping to the low 80s by 10 o'clock. Our temperatures tonight will drop back into the upper 60s to low 70s. We should drop down to 70 degrees tomorrow morning in Lincoln with winds out of the southeast right around 3 to 7 miles per hour. For tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies once again. Late afternoon, as we head towards the evening, we may see a few should see a few clouds beginning to develop across the area, but you can see by 3 o'clock temperatures back into the 90s again as that second cold front comes in. That'll help compress the air ahead of it, and that's when we should see our temperatures just a little warmer than today. Forecasting a high temperature of 93 degrees in Lincoln, even warmer down to the south, Beatrice, Fairbury, and Hebron, right around 95 degrees. And the heat index down that direction will likely be 104 to maybe as high as 106. I think the Lincoln area probably heat indices right around 100 degrees. But you'll see on Stormcast as we go through the day tomorrow, things are again pretty quiet, but as we head towards the evening hours, we will have a chance for a few showers and thunderstorms developing later Thursday night Here we are at 11 o'clock, and this will continue on through the overnight hours. And then by 7 o'clock in the morning, all that rain should be out of here. 7-day forecast shows less humid air arriving for Friday, a high of only 86 degrees. Saturday looks to be mainly dry, 86. Still keeping a question mark about late night Saturday night and early Sunday morning. A chance for a few late night thunderstorms coming our way. Otherwise, then temperatures next week, low 90s by Tuesday and Wednesday, with a chance for some storms Tuesday night, and again on Wednesday night, and again on Thursday, and then maybe a little cooler back behind that.
All right, thank you, John. Well, we've all heard it. Is it heaven? No, it's Iowa.
Our neighbor state was featured on GMA this morning, and if you missed it or want to see it again, here's Ikejachi.
It's gonna be a good day. With the Mississippi River to its east and the Missouri to its west, Iowa is a state of natural beauty, eye-catching public art, and bustling agriculture. More than half of the country's corn comes from the Hawkeye State, and those cornfields inspiring one of America's favorite movies, Field of Dreams. As the ghosts of the Chicago White Sox from the year 1919,
you see the baseball man right now?
Of course I do.
Emerge from those corn stalks.
This field and those cherished memories, just another reason to ask, is this heaven? Nah, it's Iowa.
Down the road, Ankeny is home to Lola's Fine Kitchen.
There you go. In the Philippines, Lola means grandmother. When you go to a place called Lola's, you know you're going to get good food and it's going to be like a warm hug from your grandma.
That warm hug getting harder to offer when the pandemic hit.
We were struggling to keep the doors open.
The team at Lola's focused on selling condiments.
All of a sudden, people were cooking at home more. They were experimenting with different products, and we just saw a spike in our products.
Now, Lola's Fine Kitchen doors are open, and their hot sauce is now in retail stores nationwide.
We can weather this storm and weather anything that the world throws at us.
Bart Carithers is the owner of Next Page Books.
This is probably one of the most popular areas in Cedar Rapids. If folks are traveling from out of state, from around the country, and even around the world, a lot of them will find their way in here.
When the pandemic shut his doors, he resolved to keep the book pages open for his customers.
I was so focused on this store and its survival, I really didn't have time to think about much else.
Offering at-home delivery, deliveries made himself.
I didn't really know what I was doing. This was sort of a knee-jerk reaction. It seemed like the right thing to do.
Rebecca Runyon is the founder of Bessie's Parlor, a business she started in her college dorm room with the goal of educating.
Growing up on my family's dairy farm, I know that I was constantly promoting the dairy industry, and I realized that I could change this industry by having something that I was doing be a little different than the typical.
Making extra creamy ice cream at home. The pandemic paused plans to open a store. Instead, she decided to team up with local charities.
I saw business as a way to make this positive social change.
Hosting free ice cream socials for people assimilating to freedom after incarceration, pivoting from business to philanthropy.
I've just personally always seen that there's ways that we can not just overlook the people who are on the margins of society, but really use our resources to make an impact.
Tonight, after the powerful testimonies
Clear skies as we go through the rest of the evening. 87 degrees by 8 o'clock. We'll drop down to 80 by 10. Overnight temperatures dropping into the upper 60s to right around 70 degrees.
All right. Thank you, John. And thank you all for joining us.
World News is next with David Muir. We'll see you back here at 6 o'clock.
With the Channel 8 Eyewitness News mobile app, you'll be the first to know. Get alerts about breaking news and weather, all in the palm of your hand.
We're up before the sun, so we can make breakfast for our friends and family. Hot off the griddle, fresh as can be, at Amigos.
Closed caption.